Time for Building Momentum, brought to you by Momentum Advocacy. If your organization, business, or corporation needs to understand the complex nature of our capital, you need to get a hold of Momentum Advocacy. Let's talk about what's going on in Minnesota today.
And we love having her on. She's Amy Koch. Senator Koch, how are you today? Your mic is muted, by the way.
Well, let's fix that. I was worried you were going to either hear my dog in the background or we might see a cameo from my husband Clint today. Who knows what's going to happen on this Black Friday?
That's what's so much fun about this program. You never know. Folks can do it from anywhere. We do the Zoom call a lot. I thank you for stepping up. I do want to talk, like the opener says, about what's going to happen at the Capitol. Some of the things I want to talk to you about today are going to resonate throughout what's going on at the Capitol. This, and what is it, February when they start this year? This is going to be crazy. Yes, if you have anything you want done, you better have a professional like Amy on your side, because it's going to get crazy. But I don't want to talk about that quite yet. I want to talk some conspiracy theory with you if I can.
Oh, I love it. Okay, go.
Do you think J.J. McCarthy really has a concussion? Or are we trying to buffer this kid who's having a tough time, give him some more weeks, and we'll throw the other guy, Brosman, to the Lions? Well, not the Lions, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, we can ask Carson Wentz, right?
Yeah. You're rolling your eyes. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but the high ankle sprain that took a little longer to heal and to get him ready, I don't know.
I just think when we throw these, fairly new folks in right from college, the transition can be a little bumpier. And this one's particularly bumpy. And the bigger problem, and we talked about this, was 2 weeks ago, Al, is that, I think about like all these high profile weapons we have in our offense, right? Yeah. We've got Addison, we've got Mason, and of course we've got Justin Jefferson, who, he's having a really, as far as his stats go, in the prime of his time, it just seems unfair. I guess it's just what it is, right? But it's like, he should be recognized. He's the best in the league, right? Everyone says that he's the best in the league. And what did he get? 40? I think so. I think 40 yards last week. You got to think about the entire team, right? And so, I want JJ to do well, and I think that there can still be that, but you also have to think about the entire team.
Well, the Wolves put $300 million into this team because we won 14 last year, and Darnold wasn't our guy, but guess what? He's going to come here on Sunday, or we're going there on Sunday. He wasn't the guy because he choked during the big times. So we're going to find the place, we're going to spend the money. They spent the money to win now. Right. And I just think that's putting too much on a kid who's the youngest. Right. I feel sorry for JJ. I think he could still be a fantastic quarterback in this league someday. But you're going to tell me Brosma, undrafted by anybody's going to walk in and fill the shoes?
No, of course he's not. I feel bad for him. Yeah. Right? I think the rest of the season is just going to be incredibly difficult, or maybe not. Maybe it's his moment. But then again, what is it in it for Brosmer? So then he's just thrown overboard again the next time the concussions protocols are over or whatever. This is like Sam Darnold, isn't everybody going?
Yeah. This is where this gets cool, though. Brosma, if I'm him, and I'm not, he could go down, 26 interceptions every time he could. Probably not. But he could be very Brett Favre-like and not give a crap and just go out and throw and make it happen. All of a sudden you win. He creates a quarterback controversy on a team with a quarterback whisperer, and he could probably write his check to be a backup somewhere no matter what. Right. I think the kid could be just fun to watch.
Jefferson? How do you
You're not wrong.
He's got a lot of opportunity. It's not like he's got to do a lot of the work. Get it in the vicinity, and JJ will pick it up for you.
See, that's such a great point. So, do you think this is a win or loss for the Vikings with Seattle? I got to ask.
I'm going to go with a win because I think Max is going to come out, and he's going to come out kicking, and the rest of the team is going to step up and say, look, we're tired of this, and we're going to show them what we can do. And they can do a lot. We got a lot. Like as you said, this team was built to win something.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, great. We'll take that. I appreciate you playing with me. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was lovely. We had some of my family, some of Clint's family. Right. Clint's son, Caden, is in from Iowa, and they're going to watch the the game tomorrow,
Yeah.
as I'm told, the
Yeah.
Michigan Ohio State
Yeah.
game. So yeah,
Quick
that's a,
question: do they necessarily get along? That's kind of the biggest thing. You can get along with somebody, get married, and that's all cool. The clans, when they get together, do they mesh well?
yeah, they're just fine.
Okay,
It's funny.
good.
We're both big. Clint's family is small. My family is huge.
Mm,
But that's a lot of only difference. So they're very
okay.
similar in their they're from Yankton, South
Yeah.
Dakota. I'm from
Love it.
Buffalo, Minnesota. These
All
towns
right.
are very
Small town. Yeah.
similar. Yeah, small
Okay.
town, big town. It's great.
That's fantastic. Good for you. Throw
So,
a couple of things out I want to talk with you about because it hit me Tuesday. You probably saw this in St. Paul. Some bad guy rushes into a house in St. Paul. ICE, some federal authorities call the St. Paul Police Department, and they're going to go get bad guy. In my life, you see all that happening next door. I'm going to watch, but I found it amazing that two representatives and about 60, I'm guessing about 60 other people, show up and there's rocks thrown, there's bricks, there's sticks, there's the tear gas and the bombs. And as far as I can tell, none of those people knew bad guy was how bad he was or what was going on. It was just we instinctively don't like what you're doing, and we throw this protest with protest. Anyway, I think we went too far. I think as Americans we've gone too far. If your first thing is police are here, they're bad. How do we pull that back, Senator? How do you get back from your first thought was I'm grabbing a rock? Those guys are hurting somebody. I don't even know who he is, but he must be okay.
well, that's the problem. We saw that in Minneapolis. Remember the
Yep.
first big protest in Minneapolis? The Hennepin County Sheriff was involved because it was a massive meth. It was a meth. It was a huge drug
Yep.
bust, and trafficking, human trafficking,
Yep.
child trafficking. Like these were truly heinous individuals that were being arrested in conjunction. Yes, there was an immigration piece of it, but
Yep.
in conjunction with Hennepin County Sheriff because they were going and the Sheriff DeWitt came out and said, "This is." We're getting really bad people off the street. The person who ran the bad guy that ran to the house. You're right. You and I don't know what its charges are. We don't. But I'm not going to jump to conclusions either
That's
way. Right.
yeah.
I'm going to say, okay, like obviously law enforcement has got some reason that they were on this trail.
Yep.
And if he if they are wrong and he's treated unjustly, then free him. And
Well,
100% this is America. And I don't want to lose sight of that, right? We're not just rounding up
no.
people. I don't like that either. But boy, oh boy, I'm also not going to jump to the conclusion that law enforcement just is assumed to have it wrong again. This could
See,
be a guy that ran into that house and doesn't know, it's like the people
yep.
are being held captive.
See, and this is my point. That with no context whatsoever, then your fallback position to these people was police bad. Now, maybe you might think that of all ICE people. I don't. You might all ICE people are bad, but the St. Paul police made the decision. These are the people who protect you every day, who are there, your neighbors who drive in and make sure you're not molested. And your first thing was, I think you're wrong. This is my point about going too far. How do you bring this back, Senator? How do we get an attitude where, and it can't just be Orange Man bad. 3 years from now, new Orange Man. Now I think ICE and now I think the St. Paul police are okay now. That can't be it.
No, well, and this goes to both sides doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's ever in charge, it's just assumed that what they're doing is not just not correct or not something I'm going to debate about, but that they're wrong. They're criminals. They're
Yeah.
like, and look, our side did it too.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Republican side did it with President Biden, right? He couldn't make a move without being. It's not
Judge Biden.
again just disagreeing, but it's like he's the devil.
Yeah,
He's
that's what I'm saying.
right.
And
It's
people have bought it.
everybody.
The sheeple of us have all bought this thing that there is, oh, it must be terrible. They told me these guys are bad, even though they're wearing uniforms. We have swallowed that hook, line, and sinker. And I don't know what brings it back. And back to I keep asking that. What national thing has to happen for people to reset and say, nope, I'm gonna trust these people first and then verify it. Maybe this guy was just baking cookies at home and got taken. Well, guess what? We're going to fix that. Or he's a bad guy, got kicked out, and I can get behind it. Somehow we got to reset ourselves.
We
The
have
world.
to.
Yeah.
And it used to be that like a cataclysmic world event would bring us together as a country
Yeah.
because it was always like, okay, we're going to fight with each other, but when it comes to the rest of the world, we stand together, we stand united.
Yeah, true.
We haven't really been seeing that, right? And I'm not
Yeah.
wishing for some sort of
Yeah.
cataclysmic event, but I'm saying like we're divided even on international stuff, which this isn't everything. So, Pete, I would just say it has to start with everybody. We talked about this with the assassinations on Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark.
Yeah.
You have to start with yourself, and you have to take down the heat. You have to think critically, and you have to stop yourself before you automatically jump in that, this bad, me good. Yeah,
exactly. Fair enough. We got to go to break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about back to protect. Fraud is fraud. They're bad guys going to do bad things. But if the people we want in charge are literally sitting in committees and saying we're not doing what we can to stop it, I do have a problem. I want to talk about that with Senator Amy Koch right after this on the Al Travis Show.
Hey, Brian.
You know that car sound that sounds like a cricket playing a banjo? Jays can fix that. You know when you step on the brakes and your car sounds like a pair of tennis shoes in the dryer? Paul is a guy who specializes in that. And you know that sound that never happens when the mechanic's around? Paul took a whole course on that. If you own a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop, 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 525-1052, 525-1052.
It's nice to know a guy that knows a guy. Al Travis.
Love having her on the phone and on the show, Senator Amy Koch. Senator, the program I'm talking about, and this is absolutely 100% everybody at my Thanksgiving dinner table. We believe people that need SNAP should get it. $190 a year or a month, to eat on. You're just getting by. Everyone, doesn't matter what side of the spectrum we're on, we agreed on that. But the story we're talking about was KSTP's story, where they went and talked to the people in charge of the Minnesota Department of Children, Youth, and Family. That's the one who does SNAP. And the state, the representative senators passed a rule that said that they could disqualify folks they believe are ripping SNAP off for 60 days. Time to find out if they are or not, right? If they suspect a fraud. The person running SNAP said, their spokesman, they'd rather than simply withholding payments for 60 days, the department has decided to go with another state law, the old one, that disqualifies you from SNAP as soon as you're found guilty of fraud. We sat at that table discussing that. Somebody says with SNAP, I have 22 children. The SNAP people say, well, who in the world's got 22 children? We suspect fraud. They have the right to stop it. Say, Al, could you please bring in 22 birth certificates? We like, you know what I'm saying? Great, bring it in. Check's coming again. They say no. Even though they suspect fraud, they've decided as soon as Al's found guilty of the fraud, then we'll stop. How is that protecting my money? That has got to be the lamest thing I've ever heard from a department. I'm sorry.
Well, because it's not their money.
Yeah, but that's a horrible answer, which is true, but
I'm
it's
not
horrible.
saying that's the proper answer, but look, if you want to look at it from the best place, this is part of the problem right now.
Yeah.
There is another nicer answer, right? That if you have a family that just simply doesn't have access to the paperwork or can't get it very quickly, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just got remarried, and I'm changing my name, and boy, let me tell you, it is taking forever. It's going to take me 6 months, and I have access to all my paperwork, and I've got money and resources to get the paperwork done. So so then you could say they just don't. So we need to keep making sure that those that need it, and I'd rather err on the side of making sure that people are fed, particularly when we talk about SNAP, because that's what we're talking about, than the fraud. The problem is it's coming on billions of dollars of fraud, on the heels of billions of dollars of fraud. And there is no evidence that these departments who are in charge of writing these checks have any ability whatsoever to protect the Minnesota taxpayer. We just found out a couple weeks ago that Minnesota taxpayer dollars were sent to Al-Shabaab terrorist groups or used to buy. We're told that it was used to buy houses overseas that may have been used.
That's better.
Not better. That's not a better answer. Stop explaining how that's not a problem. Still a problem.
That is too funny.
And so there is this and it's right. There's deep frustration. People say, well, maybe what do I care? This because Al, it's like all the money that you and I have paid in the last 5 years, all the money that you and I and I don't know your listenership. It's probably in the gazillion, so maybe not.
Yeah.
But at least half your listeners, all the money they've paid in went out the door illegally to criminals. And I don't care who you are as a taxpayer, Republican, Democrat, Democratic, Socialist, who you are. You do not want your money that they are taking out of your check to go to these criminals. And that is what's been happening. And that the departments, and that there has not been a solution for 7 years, 10 years. Yeah. This fraud goes back a very long way. It has been going on for a long time.
And I don't understand why more people aren't in enough people. If I had an autistic child, this state said we want to help you. They put $3 million of help. According to the U.S. Attorney General, we're up to $100 and some million. And he says 100% of it was fraud.
Of the autism, right? Just in that area.
Just in that. And if you have an autistic child, you should be mad as a hornet saying, what are you talking about? We don't take it. The rest of us want to help you. We put millions of dollars towards it, and all of it walked out the door. Why are the people in these programs aren't mad that they're being stolen blind? Because if you're on SNAP and you got to go through 60 days because of all the other stuff going on, you should be mad.
It's your food that's being taken off the table by them, right? It's your child that's not receiving the real services that they might need, that the state has said, that we've all agreed by our elected officials that we're going to pay for. You are literally stealing food off the table of people in need. And everyone, again, it's not just out of you and mine, the taxpayer dollars, although we're pissed. TikTok.
Yeah, we are. No, we are. That's an absolute, you are correct.
You're stealing from, you're literally taking food off their table.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're on pitchforks and stuff. People just stand around saying enough. Now, let me ask you this, because all this stuff that's going on, and this will all be stuff that they're going to talk about at the Capitol come February when they start. If I have other issues, things that I want to get done at the Capitol, things that I'm going to, you're going to get lost in this tidal wave of stuff unless they have folks like, momentum advocacy, right? I mean, if there's ever a year you got to jump on momentum, you got to have somebody in your corner to get through all this, because this is going to be a busy year of a lot of smoke and mirrors.
It is. Well, I mean, so you've got all the federal spending that were cut, right? The Medicaid cuts, the
Yep.
SNAP stuff. That is going to be on the table. The state budget's going to look a lot different because along with those Medicaid reductions, a lot of state money it's a 2-for-1 match. So
Mhm.
the state money gets affected. So the state budget is going to be impacted. Obviously, we have the horrible tragedies of Annunciation and the
Yep.
murder of Melissa and Mark Hortman, the former
Yeah.
speaker, and the attempted assassination of John Hoffman and his wife. And so gun violence and mental health is going to be on the table.
Yeah.
Sports betting, like there's going to be a lot of noise and a lot of action at the Capitol. And and then people always say, like, those are the big items that get a lot of the news. But there's like 90% of what goes on there is just like small policy stuff that
Yeah.
everybody would agree with that you want to get done. And so whether you've got big stuff that you care about or you've got little stuff, it all matters.
Yeah.
And it all has to get done. And and it's going to be a very fast moving election year session.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's just important to know what you're doing down there to get anything accomplished.
So go to momentum-advocacy.com. She didn't want to say it. I'll do it. Momentum-advocacy.com and go to their website and get a hold of them. Senator, thank you for taking the time after Christmas. Now, get out there and buy local. It's Black Friday business, something local thing.
Local Small Business Saturdays tomorrow. Either way.
Get out there.
Yeah, get out there.
Appreciate you, Senator. Senator Amy Koch on the Al Travis Show.
And that's another building.
Thanks, Al.